time to break out the flint and steel. Here we go. What I've got here is a little piece of all cotton denim that I have soaked overnight in a diluted solution of potassium nitrate or saltpeter. It burns real hot. This little piece, until I start blowing on it, all by itself would probably burn for 6 to 8 minutes. Let's see what we can do with it. My bird's nest is cedar bark and some cattail down. Face wave in the wind. There we go. Nice. Last summer, 2019, my family and I went on summer vacation to Virginia, my home state. And while we were there, we toured several of the historic sites in Virginia. One of them was the Jamestown settlement. It's a living history museum. And one of the neat things we saw while we were at the Jamestown settlement was a matchlock rifle demonstration. I don't really know if it was a rifle or a musket because I don't know if the barrel was rifled or not, but you get the idea. It was a long arm. And the interesting part about the matchlock rifle was it was ignited with a long piece of cotton cord that they told us had been soaked overnight sometime in saltpeter or potassium nitrate. And that long match was held in a device called the serpentine on the side of the rifle, sort of the lock of the rifle. And that in turn was connected to a lever, sort of like the trigger. When the lever was pressed, the serpentine moved forward. The serpentine was holding the match, the long cord, and that touched off the powder in the priming pan, which set off the main charge, and the gun went boom. Well, the long cord was 6 to 8 feet long. It was lit with flint and steel by a soldier getting ready to go on watch, and one end of it was kept smoldering all night long. They told us that it would burn about 1 foot per hour, and so that's why the cord was 6 to 8 feet long, because that was about how long a night watch might be. And I think they said that in battle they might light both ends of the match so that in case one went out, they had another end to go. It was all very exciting, and when the demonstration was over, I told my son, we need to learn how to make slow match and see what we can do with it. Well, I started doing some research, and I discovered that saltpeter is potassium nitrate. The chemical formula is KNO3, a potassium molecule, nitrogen molecule, and 3 oxygen molecules. And what I also learned was that potassium nitrate is an oxidizer, which means when it burns, it releases oxygen to enhance and sustain the combustion reaction. What that means to you and me is my slow match burns very readily, it burns really hot, but it burns very slowly. Another thing that I learned was that slow match, cotton impregnated with potassium nitrate, is weakly hygroscopic, which basically means it doesn't take up moisture very easily. It's not very sensitive to humidity, atmospheric moisture. It's far less sensitive to degradation due to humidity than, say, char cloth. Well, another interesting thing is that potassium nitrate is the primary constituent in old school black powder. It's about 75% by weight of black powder is potassium nitrate. Meaning, the reason being that when it burns, it releases oxygen, and you remember there's the 3 elements in the fire triangle. You got to have oxygen, fuel, and a heat or spark source in order for a fire to be initiated and then to sustain itself. So lots of potassium nitrate in black powder, big boom because lots of oxygen. Well, so how do I make my tinder? Lost my piece of tinder over here. I think it blew into my fire pit. How do I make this stuff? Well, this is just sliced up pieces of an old pair of denim blue jeans. I've got pretty much a lifetime supply of denim here. This is just an old worn out pair of blue jeans. I cut this up. When I'm going to make some nitrated tinder, as I call it, I cut up chunks about that small, big handful of them. What I discovered is that potassium nitrate can be found at your local hardware store. The company called Spectracide sells a product they call a stump remover. I have no idea how you'd remove a stump. I guess you could follow the directions on the back, but I don't have any idea how you could really remove a stump with potassium nitrate. But I looked up the material safety data sheet on this product, and it turns out that this is 100% potassium nitrate, 100%. They sell it in 1 pound bottles. I think I paid a little under $6 after tax. I'm not going to open it up right now, but it comes out in white granules. Real easy to work with. What I do is I've got myself, I call a nitrate cup and a dedicated spoon. Now, potassium nitrate is not really poisonous. I wouldn't eat it, and it doesn't flame readily on its own. It's not explosive. It's easy to work with. I mean, don't be afraid of this stuff. But I do set aside a cup to work with. This is my nitrate cup. It's a 16-ounce solo cup. The way I use it is I use the hottest water that I can get out of my home tap. I don't boil it, and I fill it about halfway up. Don't measure this stuff. It's not real sensitive to the mixing ratios. But I fill it about halfway up with the hottest water I can get out of my tap, and I put 2 heaping teaspoons of my saltpeter, stir it up until it dissolves, throw in a handful of denim swatches like that, and let it set overnight. And next morning before I go to work, I'll pour out the liquid, and I'll set the pieces of cotton out on a pie tin and let it sit in the sun for a day to dry out. If it looks like it's going to rain, I'll just leave it sitting in my garage to dry for a couple of days. And then there you go. Put it in a Ziploc bag, take it with you, and have fun with it. Some other stuff I found that works real well for making nitrated tinder is cotton lamp wick. This is some flat oil lamp wick that I found somewhere. I found it in a drawer here at the house. I don't remember where I bought it. And this is some all cotton lamp wick cord that I found. It's 1/4 inch in diameter. It's all cotton. Works really well too. Anything will work. I recommend blue jeans. Well, so you have it. A quick, easy. It's a really clean tinder compared to Char Cloth. It's easy to ignite. I think I got it on the 3rd or 4th strike tonight. Burns really hot. Burns really energetically. Lasts a long time. It doesn't take up moisture from the atmosphere. It's easy to work with, and it's not dangerous. Hopefully you'll give it a try sometime and you have as good luck with it as I've had. Have a good evening.